What's going on, All Terrain Nation? Whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or these bad little trucks I like to drive. I don't know about Tim over there, but this is your All Terrain Nation, and we have the co-host over there, Mr. Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, Tim Esterthal. And what's going on, buddy?
Hey, dude. Hey, I just noticed something, by the way. For those catching me live on my channel too, I have a schedule button. I could have scheduled this out and alerted the audience about an hour ago. We were talking. So sorry if you're joining us live, and I think I'm going to download this as a podcast too. So sorry if you're joining us on podcast. Well, I guess podcast would be late because you didn't download it anyways.
And you wouldn't be sorry about it if they're listening to it. Sorry, guys.
You're right. I'm sorry you get to hear us, and you're long. I'm assuming you're driving if you're hearing us, and if you're a semi truck driver, thank you for your service for sure.
That's
So
right.
I get a lot of truck drivers out there, and God bless them because I've driven long distances, and you're just trying to find anything you can do to pass time.
Right. And I was trying to go. So we're learning about how the software works, and I was trying to go live on Instagram, and it was playing I couldn't figure out how to mute the damn thing, and it was like double playing as I'm trying to do this, and I'm like, well, let's kill Instagram. We'll solve that problem down the road. But what is going on, everybody? This is your Midsize Truck Show, and today we're gonna fuss about some Toyotas, or I'm gonna fuss about some Toyotas, and kind of see where we're at in the other scheme of things, because Tim, shell shock, and we knew this was coming. It's not like they were going to be a cheaper version of the next Toyota, but I've just seen people after people just upset that, oh my God, Toyota's charging this or they're charging that for the trucks. And yeah, man, pickup trucks are expensive. And maybe 5 to 8 years ago, you could get a nice full size truck for $50,000, but now that's a mid-sized truck, man.
I was I was personally shocked when I built and priced mine, and I'm buying one this year for the channel, and I went and built and priced it, and I was shocked by it because and what and it was kind of one of those things where it's sitting back now. I'm sitting back and thinking about it post going on and going to my thinking about that TRD off road. What's that's what I'm going to buy. What's interesting about that is, and I guess what's blows me away, there's a $10,000 package in that.
Yes.
That's like I don't know. I'm not great at math, but if it's $40,000 for a truck and you add 10,000 more to it, isn't that like a 25% increase in price just from that one package or something like that? I mean, it is insane how much more it is. And so yeah, if you go through powertrain, and I guess my other complaint about it is it's 41,000 for two-wheel drive. It's like, stop two-wheel drive. I mean, I just don't. I'll never buy a two-wheel drive truck. I've had a two-wheel drive.
I have no. If I'm going to kill my fuel economy, I want to really kill it.
Yeah, right. But I mean, the other thing, if you look at the top, what's the top number? I can't quite make it in a page, but is it 28 packages? Like one of 28 or something like that?
One of 24.
Oh, 24.
Which is weird because they have this mud flap thing, and you're like, what? Why is that a package?
I got so I started making jokes about that in my video. I was like, hey, look, the option is mud flaps. Like, why? It's just crazy to me that the difference between $60 there is mud flaps.
Yes. Well, it's a heated. They have a heated seat, which I appreciate the fact that you could, if you just wanted a base truck and you wanted heated seats, that you could do that. A lot of manufacturers force you into, oh, you've got to have the everything.
But here's the other bitch about it: is you can't actually order a Tacoma.
Right. Yeah.
So
I don't think many people realize that.
Yeah, people to this day, I still get emails like, "Hey, I built my Tacoma. Here's what it's going to be," and I'm like, "No, you didn't." And they're like, "Yeah, I did. I'm taking my dealer." And the dealer's like, "Yeah, I ordered that for you." Oh yeah. All the dealer's doing is looking at the specs and going what's coming in allocation. He's going to call you and go, "I got one that's gray. I know you wanted blue, but I have a gray one coming in tomorrow." I mean, that's what the game they're going to play. And so, yeah, you can't. They give you all these options, and they have tons of options, but you can't order it, which is just bizarre to me.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, if you can't order a Tacoma, why give all these different option packages?
Well, isn't it something to do with the way they set up their importing when they came to America? There's something like a lot of manufacturers, like Nissan, when they import something, they just import them, and the dealers can select from their catalog of what they have in stock. Where Toyota does this backwards, like, no, we're only going to, here's what allocations the dealer can get. It's kind of strange how they do it, and it's probably something they need to revamp, because in this day and age of everybody wanting to pick exactly what they want, it's not a happy customer. Because I've seen, this ties into the topic, I've seen a lot of customers upset that, well, now the dealer's they're gonna add on these what do they call them, oh gosh, Oh,
Going on, you get the
about
dealer installed packages or the
yeah, it's
nitrogen in the tires or the
oh, I call it BS every time, and that's the great thing about being an auto journalist. When I bought my Gladiator, they tried to do that. They were like, "Oh, we've got the all-terrain package on this," and they put wheel locks on. I had to go through the list, and I was like, "Look, wheel locks are already on the dealer or on the factory sticker." "Oh, okay." And then it was like $500 for nitrogen. I said, "Dude," I said, "all you did was put a green cap on it." I said, "'Cause I watched the truck come off the truck. You guys had it for 20 minutes to check it out and brought it to me to buy." And then I said, "Look, man," I said, "I'm an auto journalist. Don't do the BS with me." I said, I'll you guys get rid of all the BS part of it, and I will buy the truck today. I'm not asking for a discount. Just give me the truck."
yeah.
But no, dealers will F this up as well. But Toyota maybe needs to revamp how they do
I
this
think so. They've always this is
North
the way they've
America.
always done business, and this is the reason why they're such a big company is because 'cause they'll make 100 Tacomas a day, and you can get 20 white, 20 blue, 20 red, and 10 solar octane or something. I mean, that's the way they've always done business, and, it allows them to be more competitive as far as coming from supplier standpoint. Suppliers know exactly what they're gonna build is coming.
Yeah.
Oh, a new law coming. No more $900 nitrogen tires and other dealer add-ons. I've heard there's some conversation in Congress as well. So, hey,
That
Dave.
needs to be
Dave is at 7 a.m. In British Columbia. So, good lord, and has had another cup of coffee. I had to have like three this morning.
yeah, I'm on my first Monster. But no, that's something that there needs to be some buyer protections because dealers are just allowed to basically just lie to you, and it's ethical to them. They just, and there's no rhyme to reason. There's no, you can't go to this dealership across town. They're gonna treat you there's just it's the Wild West of what they wanna add on to charges.
Yeah, and I've been in many conversations this week about different brands and things, and that's one thing people always bring up with like say Tesla is that you don't have deal dealers. You just go order the vehicle you want, here it is, arrives, and it's like, and if you think about that, Tesla's been out for what a decade now, maybe longer,
Mhm,
and if they really wanted to, if they were really changing the game in automotive, that would have changed. But the problem is the dealer laws are like baked in 1960 law books, and getting that to
mhm,
change, and they have so much power and the the representatives are always in Congress lobby. They have such lobbying power in Congress. I don't think that stuff was ever going to change, but it does need to change. I think COVID has changed that. I think the Amazon partnership with Hyundai is trying to change that. I'm not sure if that's going to really get to where it needs to be. Right now, it's still kind of murky how that's going to work out. So I think there's some forces at play to change that. But that's where, like, for example, the Ranger or the Colorado is more interesting to people because you can order in certain ways, you can order more of what you want and have it delivered to your specs. What's frustrating with the Colorado is just had somebody talking about this a little bit, is that y- you can't get certain things in Trail Boss. You have to go Z71 instead to get certain things. Then you lose the lift that you had in the Trail Boss and lose. It just gets funky. And then my bitch with the Colorado is the product packaging is so bad. You have to add two convenience packages to get heated steering wheel,
yeah.
and it's just they throw this crap in there, and they have that. He's so it's like from the one standpoint, you're like, hey, the dealer's adding crap in there I don't want, but then from the Chevrolet standpoint, Chevrolet's adding stuff crap in there you don't really want, right? So it's
Well,
like what?
Chevrolet's such a I hate to pick on them because I grew up in a GM household, but such a mess of a company right now, man. They need some leadership. So they need a truck leadership and they need a EV leadership and let them do their own things. And I think it'd be a better company, especially with
Yeah.
them trying to do away with CarPlay and all that now. Going, oh, people don't want that. We're going to do our
Well,
own
they
thing.
called
You're
it a
like,
safety issue. Then I just read something the other day. They called it an EV charging issue. That it's just a bunch of noise and garbage. So it does make people wonder about going back to like say Ford. I mean, you've had a lot of experience with Ford vehicles. I think Ford vehicles are overall pretty cool. I think the Bronco's pretty cool. I think the Raptor's pretty cool. I think the F50 Tremor is really cool. I think that's really
mhm.
cool products. The problem I have with the Ford Ranger is not the Ford Ranger. It's can they build it? Like Jesus
Yeah.
Criminy.
Well,
Ford has all these cool vehicles, but they can't seem to build them. And then when you get them, they seems like I don't know. It just seems weird.
sometimes you get Ford products like I bought a new Mustang and then quality, you're like, ooh, you may not want those early production
Right.
vehicles.
So I mean, you may have so Ford's quality hasn't always been the best, right? So you have
Yeah.
Ford quality issues. You can't buy them, but I go drive them. I'm like, oh my god, these things are great. Like they do their engineering team does a really good job. Like the Ford,
Mhm.
I always, I kind of associate this with baseball. I kind of told the story, I don't know, a couple years ago, but I love to go and talk to engineers, and I love engineer conversations. But if you go to say that Toyota, you get a maybe one head engineer and a couple other people that kind of really are in that mix. You go to Nissan, you had like one part-time guy. You go to Chevy or GM, and you have a few people. I see 4 or 5 people that are really in the business, really leading the ways. But you go to the Ford, and it's like the freaking New York Yankees. Like they have 6 or 7 chief engineers who just swap the job title around every time they do a new Ford and 50 or Super Duty or Ranger. So I mean, you're talking about a stacked field of
Yeah.
engineers at Ford, but the, you know, but then they go to production. It's like what happened? Oh, the worst was the Ford Explorer. They couldn't. I mean, the Chicago facility was just having nightmare issues trying to build that new Explorer. The head guy got fired. I mean, they brought another person in, and that person I don't think is done any better. And then you have the Ranger delays, and it's like,
Well, and part of Ranger delays has been production issues. Now, I will say for Ranger, like I give the plant that they build the Ranger and Bronco at, Bronco came out during COVID. I kind of give them a little pass there. Now Ranger, right in the middle of the UAW strike, was when they planned to launch a vehicle, so they were in early production, just getting things right. So now, I mean, for Ranger, it's delayed it till I did a video on this a couple months ago now, I think, where I said, hey, it won't be till into January, early February before you start seeing those, which means for us, it's going to be a lot like you with Toyota. Press trips are going to be all of a sudden like, we, oh crap, we got to get press out on this thing. Like they're going to be
right.
February. It's going to be awful. And I mean, it's not going to be awful because if I get invited, I'm really excited to drive that truck. But
Ross bring up a lot of good points in a Trail Boss, and he may be one of the guys that talking to me about this stuff, but he's like, you can't get LED lights in a Trail Boss. You can't get fog lights in a Trail Boss. You can't get
yeah,
leather in a Trail Boss. You have to go to Z. So you go Z71, and you can't get. If I recall correctly, and my memory is terrible, by the way, but if I recall correctly, the Z71 you can't get the same lift that you can in the Trail Boss, because I believe on the trails we were at in San Diego that the Z71 had to pick a different line than Trail Boss did, because Trail Boss has like a 2-inch lift on it. So
yeah.
it is interesting. Oh, this was fascinating. I don't know if I did a Tacoma versus Colorado build and price kind of thing, back and forth comparison. Fascinating to me that the Tacoma has better approach angle and departure angle, even though the Colorado Trail Boss is 2 inches taller.
Well,
It was, it was
is there a lip on the Trail Boss or anything like for aerodynamics, or is
Well,
there?
somebody brought that up. Somebody said, well, that if you take the air dam off, you're gonna have the same. You'll probably get the same angle as Tacoma would, and
Yeah.
I agree with that. That's fair. But think about that. Like it boggled my mind a little bit that you put a 2-inch lift on this, and your degree of angles is less. I mean, it was like 2 or 3 degree angle less than it was the Tacoma.
Yeah.
And I know Chevy's had an issue for um, I don't want to say an issue, but their differential cover, the rear diff, the rear axle,
Mhm,
whatever,
mhm.
axle housing, whatever you call it. It does sit pretty low in the Chevrolet vehicles. If you ever look at Chevy trucks, that sits pretty low, and the shocks are inverted just the way the makeup is. I think the
Yeah.
Tacoma it's just the undercarriage is more tucked in, because
Well,
remember the
Toyota's smart with
ZR2.
off-road.
Right. Well, remember the ZR2 was, and then especially the Bison. Was it the ZR2? One of those two. We were out driving, and you kept smashing the muffler,
Mhm.
because the muffler hung down so low. It was just every time they came back, it was pancaked. Yeah. So Tim, I just confirmed the Z71 does not have a lift option. Yeah. Yeah. So the trail, so that's has an option for additional 1-inch lift, make it the same as ZR2. Interesting. I didn't know the option for the Trail Boss. Somebody else said that there was a Trail Boss option with 33-inch tires too, or 33s or 34, something like that. I don't know.
I'll pull it up real quick.
People, yeah, I just think that it's I don't know. It's so interesting in these tire sizes nowadays. Like I
Well
never used to care much about tire sizes, but now I have to, and now I'm
it's a
converting everything.
measuring contest.
I know. I can't, and I'm like, okay. So now I'm like 265, 70 R17s, and I go on Google it. And I'm like, okay, how many inches is that? Because I
Yeah.
can't talk about 275, 70 R17s. nobody really understands that. But if I talk of things in inches, it makes sense. And then our friend TRD John, he did a YouTube short, and I was kind of talking about this. He did about fitting 35s on a Tacoma and how they engineered it so you could fit the 35s on there. And I was like, good Lord, where are we going to end up with these tire sizes? I mean, we're going to have like 40s on a midsize truck. Like, I'm just like, I'm like, wow, it's incredible to me because then we have these small displacement turbocharged engines pushing this big rubber wheel, and the fuel economy of that truck's going to go
Well,
because
but I think for people that want larger tires and all that, I think those people understand. It's not a soccer mom or anybody that's just wants a grocery gritter. I think if you want the larger tires, there's some give and take of that. Here, I want to show you this though, Tim. I brought up this is the Trail Boss, and this is where you can get into adding their packages.
yeah.
This is the worst I do a lot of build prices. This is the worst I've seen of a site to add. GM is the worst. So you go, oh, I want this convenience package. Well, then it's all hidden BS of like, oh, well, that shoves you now into the level 2 something. You're like,
Right.
by the time you're done with trying to build your dream version of a pickup truck with Chevrolet, I have no clue what I would ever buy. So I was looking for like, okay, let's see what we have for packages for like maybe a lift or whatever. And who knows, man, with this company. I think the GMC and the Colorado are the best looking midsize trucks out there. But after that, it's just been a mess for me. I wouldn't own it because I couldn't figure out how to buy one.
Yeah, it's funny. Somebody commented on and made a comment that said, "Hey, I can't believe this truck doesn't come with remote start. Remote start should be standard in this day and age." And you look at this Trail Boss, and right that top package, 375, you can add cruise control. Like somebody's like, "Remote start's got to be standard." And I'm like, "Cruise control is not even standard these days."
Yeah.
Like, we, you know,
We've
it's
talked
like,
about this in the past. They've added vehicles are so standardized now that they're actually taking away things to make you look like you're really getting something.
yeah, and it's like this is just nuts.
Well, you
Uh,
think about it, we've gone to where they want vehicles to drive themselves now. So what are you going to do to make a vehicle feel special? Like safety tech is all there. Cause back in the day when I was a kid, Cadillac was
oh yeah.
they tried everything first. It trickled through the system. Well, now everything's so good. Every brand's safety tech is so good. Every brand gives you a big screen TV in the thing. And now it's like, oh, to feel special. Oh no, we're going to take away cruise control. Like what?
Not only that, but it's like um, they want that lower price point and they want
Yeah.
the more profit, right? So, two things. D. Cooper says his wife says size doesn't matter, which I thought was kind of funny. But Bayo lie, Chevy interiors look and feel so cheap. And that was my big takeaway driving the Colorado versus the Tacoma, and especially when I had the Trail Boss deer hunting. And I made a
Right.
point in that when I was hunting with that Trail Boss, it's crazy to me how cheap the Trail Boss feels inside the cabin. And the way but I don't know if you saw the video, but I had that seat that kind of had a bunch of
Mhm,
plastic in the rear butt
mhm.
area, and just I couldn't even get a full back seat, like the back of the butt seat. I mean, lack of a better term, but it was like contoured in and more plastic, and more plastic, and plastic, and plastic. And I was just like, so people are like, well, the Colorado is much cheaper and it's a better value. You get more of the features and things. But I will tell you, when if you were to drive a Tacoma versus Colorado back to back, it's shocking how cheap the Colorado feels now. And that's the one thing that I don't like with our business, and I'm trying to figure out how to do a better job of that. Is first drive programs.
Mhm.
You're so much like it's a whirlwind. You have all this stuff on your head. You did the first look at
Mhm.
the Ranger, and like you were just, I mean, you just put information out there. You really can't. People are like, well, how's it shift? And how's fuel economy? What's the seats like? And you're like, and
Right.
I was looking at 17,000 things at once. There's no way I could tell it. But then when you get it for a press loan, that's the best thing. When I get it for a press loan, which is a 7-day
Mhm.
loan from manufacturer, I live with it for 7 days. It's like, okay, yeah, that really sets in. Now it's like, oh, okay, I can really get that thought in my head of what's going on. So it is interesting.
Yeah,
But
and even at that, press loans don't even give you enough time really because that's why I've been buying, and I know that's why you bought,
I
you're
bought two, yeah.
buying the vehicles
Yeah,
that you
I
bought.
bought. So like the guy just wants to know about changing S21 F-150 XLT. David asks Silverado 3-liter Duramax, good choice, or Tundra, or wait for Tacoma. it's funny you're thinking because you've kind of gone down the same road I got down. By the way, my Silverado's for sale still if you want to come buy it. Anyways, I
Say
yeah,
shameless plug.
I don't know. I had a guide, and that guy did backed out another guy, and the dealer doesn't want to whatever. I would go. I like the Silverado more than I like the Tundra. I think the Tundra is improving. They're making some changes, like the seat cracking issue. I did see a new part for that. So they're fixing that issue. They've color matched the front grille a little bit better. I think it looks a
Yes.
little bit better there. I mean, that was a big change they did this year. They're doing small things, but I still think the Silverado 3-liter diesel is really good. Now the Tacoma is really good as well. It's going to be really interesting this next year because I am going to switch to a midsize truck. I'm thinking Tacoma. We'll see. My guy's not calling me back. Um,
Uh-oh.
yeah, I know it was some drama. I got to email the guy and then figure that out next week. But I'll be interested to see how I live with a midsize truck. Right. So I have Swede, my 62. That's basically a midsize truck these days. It was a full size 62. It was basically a midsize truck, and I'll be curious to see how I like it after a year because I really like a full size truck. Like I just like the room. I always park outside. I don't worry about parking in the garage. I like the room with the kids. I like whatever I want to do. Want to go road trip, whatever. We take the full size truck. But I'm just interested to see what's going to happen for going down a grade. I don't know.
Yeah, it's I see, but I'm more of a mid-sized truck. I like to do truck things, but I don't want a big truck. I mean, I've owned big trucks, but overall, I tend to be attracted more to the smaller style,
Hey,
especially
I
for
like big
parking.
trucks, and I cannot lie.
Hey, hey, uh, trucks got back. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm over here. I'm trying to quickly price this stupid trail boss,
All right, you do that.
and
I'm gonna answer a
it's a
question here.
nightmare.
Andrew Ramirez wants to know what I don't understand is location of the tow hooks with the Tacoma, with the Ranger easy access as well as the Colorado. It is the conservative nature of Toyota's safety team that is causing that problem. They want that tow hook not to move in a crash at all, not even an iota, not even
Are they tow hooks or are they?
yes, recovery points.
I'm
I
poking at Tim. Tim got a comment last night about one of his shorts that he did, which I liked. I thought it was very informative. People with Toyota, especially, want to know about tow hooks. And what did the guy say?
the guy goes, "Are these tow hooks or recovery points?" And I'm and I think the guy's being serious, but I didn't know how to answer that because it's the same word. It's tomato, tomato. I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
But yes, Toyota has shoved those in because they want the bumper to hit first. Is basically what they're trying to do, and they
right.
want that. So my bitch with it is, and this is a stupid bitch, is I did a story on it, and I had tried to find a photo. Did not have a photo, so I went to the media site and downloaded the official photos, and I had to zoom in and blow it up and actually draw a circle around the hook because you can't see it. And I'm thinking, if you're out there in the mud and you're out, getting ice or snow built up in your truck, whatever, you can't see the damn tow hook or recovery point. What the hell do they want to call this
Yeah.
damn thing? And so the first mod I'm going to do if I get a Tacoma is I'm going to take some spray paint. I'm going to paint the damn thing like red or something so I can actually see
Mhm.
it.
Well,
Like,
Jeep was so smart with that. Remember,
yeah,
people used to
Jeep put them
hide tow hooks. Oh, we can't. They don't want to be seen.
right. They put them on top of the bumper and then they made them different colors. I mean, it really stands out. Yeah, so it's pretty good. Um, let's see. Interesting. We didn't talk about okay.
Let's see. Well, let's see. Tow hook strong enough to use. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, they're bolted to the frame. What's interesting though is I didn't know this. There are recovery points and there are, lack of a better term, transportation shipping points.
mhm.
And so I did not realize this that in certain vehicles there are no tow hooks or recovery points. There are hooks that are built into the frame,
Yeah,
and
they're
that's meant
little
for
round deals where they can pull the
yeah,
frame
it's
down.
meant for latching it down for transportation. And I've seen people talk about those. They've done photos of them on Facebook and stuff, and they're like, "It's right here. You just see it. There's your circle." And I was like, "Oh, that's a recovery point." And then somebody else is like, "No, that's the latch down point for transportation." You can still sort of use it for recovery. It's not bolted down it's not as secure as the recovery point is, but I've seen people actually use that.
I've seen people put tow hooks on them or the little shackles and stuff on them. Yeah, it's not gonna hurt nothing. All right, so Tim, I pulled up. I've got the Ranger, the Colorado, and the Toyota Tacoma, and I've kind of went with each one's most off road truck that you can get from them. So we'll start with the old ZR2 here because technically, that would be the most off-road package that you can buy from Chevrolet right now. I mean, I when are they actually gonna even put the AEV on their website? Like, I don't you
I know
drove that truck a long time
the
ago.
bison's not even listed. It's
Yeah.
so in the so Colorado, it's bison. In the canyon, it's AEV.
Mm.
The dumbest thing ever.
Oh,
But
okay, yeah.
yeah,
So this is I mean, I just kinda loaded it quickly, so don't hold me detail to every detail about this truck, but the current truck for the, ZR2 four-wheel drive is 51,130. Now,
yep.
whether you buy it for that, I don't know. I know this is a fairly hot truck, so dealers are gonna probably screw with everybody, but, um, this is with the vinyl seats, leather seats, whatever you wanna call them now, so it's basically what Toyota called their most convenient package, the $10,000 package. So $51,000 for the ZR2, which right now seems like a bargain.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of high when I first was driving it
I did
around,
too.
and then now you look at it and you're like, "Hey, wow, that's actually a bargain." It's interesting. I think Chevrolet, if you look at all their vehicles, like even that High Country I have, the fully loaded 1500 High Country is 67,000.
Mhm.
That's actually a pretty good bargain for a full size, fully loaded truck these days.
Well, I was watching somebody's video this morning and they just bought a Raptor. And they got because there's a new F-150 Raptor design coming next year. So dealers are trying to get those off their lot. So the guy got it for 5 grand less than sticker, which is unusual for a full-size Raptor.
Yeah,
And he it was like 70 some $1,000. And I was like, holy shit, that's like
yeah.
a
I
loaded
mean, it used
like
to be no, I agree with you. It used to be 70,000 for a half ton truck. Oh my god, that's ridiculous.
yeah.
And in today's inflation crazed world and are we doing more features on trucks, it just kind of changed your opinion. So in my videos, I've been a lot more careful to say in today's current truck market,
Yes.
because I know the comments are coming that say, I bought mine 10 years ago for this much money. I can't believe an XLT is worth this much. I get it all the time. And so I
Yeah.
say, in today's current truck market, right? So that's 51,000. What's the other one you got pulled up?
Let's see. So, and I want to say this too. Off-road wise, you're getting some real rock rails with this truck. You're getting skids. Like I know Toyota. We're comparing kind of apples to oranges because Toyota does have the Pro coming, the TRD Pro. So that's going to be their most crazy. And then the Trail Hunter Edition we know is, but they're not on their website right now, so we can only compare what we've got. So next up, let's go to Ford, and if I can get this thing to work just right. I need my producer Kelly up here. Is what I need. All right, there we go. So the most capable Ford mini truck you can get right now is the Raptor. Now, obviously, we can't
Well,
technically
you
buy
can
them
get
right now,
it.
but they are in production. I've seen a lot of people. There was somebody in the comments here talked about they've
I'm
got their
ordered for.
build date for theirs, which that's an exciting time. Uh, I haven't seen mine yet, so I'm a little bummed about that. But $57,690 for the most. That's I went through, and there wasn't much you can add to a Raptor really, so I didn't add the graphics package, but that's that's a 57,000 start to look like for what you get. Twin turbo V6, making 400 horsepower. Now it's ideally built for the desert, but they're gonna be street queens. Everybody's gonna have them running around town. But Tim, I've got a feeling that Ford's gonna take a look at what Toyota's about to do, and next year, this truck is 60,000. The year after that, it's 65,000. I think
Yes.
that especially when the Pro hits, because we are from what we're seeing of Toyota's prices now, I would expect the Pro and Trail Hunters to be in the 60s, right?
I would think so too. Yeah, definitely.
Which
And I gotta
which
say, that picture does not do justice to that shelter
mm-mm.
green. You
No,
and I
not at
both saw
all.
that in person. That shelter green is an amazing color.
Yeah, well, and people were really the code orange. People love that code orange, and when we were at the press event, people were really bummed that the press was even bummed that we don't get code orange. What's going on?
Yeah, yeah. No. Um,
Where are you at with this truck? Is this a bargain now, or is this
it's been so long since I saw it. I actually I had somebody in my in the comments once point out that I didn't watch my own video when I was doing the Colorado and I missed a key detail. And so I was thinking about doing a Ranger comparison today. I need to go back and watch my video again because I'm sure I missed things because nothing to me the Ranger Raptor stood out to me as being really badass, but nothing else stood out to me as standing out. Like somebody just pointed out, the Colorado shifter on the passenger side stood out to me. The headlights not having a switch stood out to me. You know, negative things stood out to me. On the Ranger, the only thing I didn't like was on the second row entry exit. There's no grab handle at all. And somebody said, "Well, you reach up top and grab that one, pull in." And I'm like, "Come on, man! That's not ergonomically like anywhere accurate." So I just want to see it again. I've had um, pretty good luck with the Ford press loans I've had. I thought they looked pretty good, and I've been happy with them. But like, I'm just trying to. I want to look at that one more time. And yeah, it
So
does. It looks pretty cool.
the photos you're seeing right now is from the press event me and Tim were at, and that's the interior of it. It's splashy. It's kind of neat. I think the TRD Pro is going to be obviously you've seen a rough version of it, so you kind of know what you're to expect. I think the TRD Pro, what's going to really hurt is those seats. The fancy seats are wanting to put in that because have you
Yeah,
looked? I mean, there's
there's
no rear space now. It's a two-door truck or it's a two-seater truck, where at least the Raptor is still truly a four-seater truck.
No, it's Tallywhacker. He says, "I you don't like because it doesn't have rear." No, that was the only thing I could see. I mean, everything else was good with it. I'm just saying, I
Mhm.
had one thing I was like, "Oh, look at that!" And Dave in Canada, I buy trucks because I own the channel. Jill does she does reviews and things. It makes more sense. But yeah, that was the only thing I. That's my only gripe, I guess I could say. I mean, it wasn't like I don't like the truck because of that. It was,
Yeah.
oh, that's the only thing. Everything else looked fine. Ooh,
And
that's
for
the back.
people, if you're listening to
Didn't
Tim's
finish.
podcast, you won't see this, but you can see the sparkle in that paint there that I've pulled up.
Yeah.
It's just digital photos do not do this color justice at all, Tim.
Yeah, no.
But
No,
no, I'm very excited by this truck because this is the one I'm buying, and I would like to. I'm going crazy over here. I'd like to have a TRD Pro, but if it's getting $68,000, I can't afford that for a small truck. Well, I can't afford it as a car or truck. That's getting out of my range.
yeah, no, I agree. Hey, throw up my screen.
I don't want to throw your screen up. What
You
do you want
do.
to? Oh, you want to self promotion over here? It's
Heck
shameless self
yeah.
promotion.
All right, here you go, folks. I decided to do something probably last week or two. I've been thinking about this for a couple of years. I created a forum. I wanted a place that we could all talk about all the brands of trucks, not just individual forums. I wanted a place where people could share. I get these emails all the time. People share like photos, or they share stories with me, and it's like I want to share that with you guys, the audience. I don't know a good place to share it. So there is a forum. We're doing a soft launch this weekend. It's a soft launch. I think I'm going to put the link to the website later on today. I'm thinking so. And so it's live. Still dealing with a few colors. I don't love all the colors quite yet, but we're still working through that stuff. But it does work. And there's already, I don't know, there's already several comments and things. I have different forums set up. We're talking about pheasant hunting, and one of the one of the things that was kind of fun this morning. But different forums. I got some questions up for you guys. It's good for me as a journalist too, because I love the fact I can interact with you guys in a place we can have conversations back and forth. YouTube doesn't always allow that the way I'd like it to be allowed. I can't always have conversations, but another place for you guys to show off your photos and then talk more stuff. Like, there's a question about like coil spring versus leaf spring driving. Well, I think it's a really good question. So let's talk more about
Mhm.
that. So I'll put a link here on. It's simple. It's forum.pickuptrucktalk.com.
And
It's
can they go to
yeah,
pickuptruck.com to
I'll
see
make the
the
link. I'll make the link live later on today. It'll have a link, a navigation from pickuptrucktalk.com, which is our website, to
Yeah.
link to the forum and back and forth. But I was kind of putting it out. I was talking about stuff. Dave said he couldn't comment on the forum. So I, as far as I know, you have to be logged in. You have to create a logger. You have to create
Yeah.
an account.
Free
You will
registration. It
you will
doesn't
get an
cost you.
email. You will get an email. Check your spam box, Dave. You'll get an email. You have to click the link to activate your login,
Yeah.
and that's
Just
only
verify your
because
email is all it is.
it's because of spam bots. I have to do that because spam bots. If I don't do that, I'll have tons of spam comments. And so yeah, that's something about that. Just make sure you follow that small thing on that.
Right.
Yeah, if you guys would create an account and put it on there. And again, I've always wanted to build a community, and this is another great way to build a community. I will have some ads on the site because I have to pay for my monthly, fees on this thing. But I will not have in-post ads. You'll only have a footer ad, a header ad, and maybe a sidebar ad, and then a video will play. So that's all the ads it's going to be. I'm gonna do it as simple as I can. Yeah, if you have an issue with that, Dave, send me an email to tim@pickuptrucktalk.com, and I'll look in the back end, and I'll see if I can't make sure. I believe I thought you were a member already. Just double check it. Maybe just refresh your page too. Again, this is again a soft launch.
Remember, it's still in
Uh,
beta.
yeah, still beta. A better way to say it, Dave. It's still beta, and so, but I was excited. I woke up this morning with like 27 members already, and people are sharing stuff, and people are posting already. And Dave's one of the early ones. I let him in yesterday afternoon. I think you and I were talking about this yesterday.
And then he kicked
Um,
me out right after that.
well, yeah, no, it was. I was just playing around with different things. I was creating all these different nodes. I think they call them nodes and forums. I don't know what's
Mhm.
going on. So
It's pretty interesting because I'd talked to Tim. I've built many forums and especially auto forums, and we were kind of working together. Like, hey, try this, and like to see your excitement for it. And I'm pretty excited to see because you have a good community over there on your channel. Watch the comments. You have people that always comment, same people kind of comment. You have
yeah,
new.
and
The idea they
those
can
people email
take
me and
it
they want,
longer.
like I said, they want to show me their trucks. They want to talk discussions, and I want. So if you're going to ask me a question like, would you buy the Silverado versus the Tundra? Let's make that a post on a forum, and then that
Yeah.
way we can all discuss the pros and cons. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there are going to be things I'm going to forget about. For example, I didn't talk about Coil Spring versus Leaf Spring and Tacoma versus Colorado video that I need to talk about, and it
Yeah.
makes me a better journalist. Which that's one of the cool parts about this whole job is that I've been a better journalist because of you guys and your comments and your YouTube stuff. So YouTube comments, because it gets me thinking about different things. Makes me question different things, and it makes me a better journalist.
Yes. So go over to it, Tim's new forum, check it out. Like I said, it's they're always a work in progress. So guys, be patient with Tim. Tim's not a he's not been a forum like owner before, so he's gonna have a few bumps.
Yeah, like I said, I like the fact that you can go to one spot and talk all trucks, and not have to go to 6 different forums and search your stuff. And I get tired of you go to forums because you either love your vehicle or you hate your vehicle.
Hmm.
Like I'm hoping to create a place where we can just talk about different trucks and get some real world experiences and have some conversations rather than saying, "Oh my God, my truck's the best thing since sliced bread" and all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, I think that's what I want to do. I want to have
Right.
more relationship like that.
David said, "What color is that Ranger?" That is called Shelter Green. It's their launch color of that. It's their special color for that. I think only it. Well, I think it's going to Raptor. All the Raptor brands are getting it because I know Bronco's getting it as well. But that's the color. So we did something fun with my order. So Ford, when they did the launch of the Ranger, Tim,
Hmm.
like most things, was a mess. And initially, dealers were just putting in normal customer orders for Rangers, and then Ford's like, "No, you can't do that. They have to be dealer stock orders that you can sell to your customers." And so they had to convert mine to a dealer stock. And then Ford came back again, and goes, "Oh no, customers can just order their Ranger Raptors." So I actually have 2 Ranger Raptors on order, and we changed up the color of one. So I'm playing the lottery of which color do I get. So I'm hoping I get the Shelter Green, but I could get the Azure Gray as well. So we're, it's a gamble. We're gonna
I
see which one I
know,
get.
and what's frustrating about that is, um, if you're on the early allocation list for a lot of these trucks, like you and I have been,
Mhm.
you don't really know. You're kind of taking a guess at what you're going to get, and you're guessing what the features are. Like I'm on early allocation list for the Tacoma. Do I know what I'm going to get? I don't really know. It's like I think I know. I think I know what's going to come in, but I've kind of told them a few things, but you don't really know. Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. I just added the forum to the link on the navigation for pickuptrucktalk.com. So boom. See how easy that is? Yeah. So if you go here, you will find it here, and then this is the mobile navigation. So it's forum.pickuptrucktalk.com or there. And did you use the old system called Tapatalk? Tapatalk
Hmm.
or something?
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna look into how to add it to an app like that.
Yeah, no, they people loved apps. I remember in the around 2012 or so, like people wanted, people were just still doing. It's funny how you can track this stuff. You can track it through. Oh, I can tell who's on PC, who's on phone, and I'd watch like overnight. It just flipped. People going to phone and going, "Hey, we want an app for this." And yeah,
Yeah.
Tap
So
Talk
I'm gonna
worked
look
well
into
for
that
it.
as well because I use it. Actually, it'd be for me. It'd be a lot easier to just go to an app for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Russ asked, "You don't know what you're getting to get or the final price. That sucks, man. But I know you need it as fast as possible for content." Yeah, it's a race. I mean, it really does come down to race. And people have been asking me like, "Why not just wait for the hybrid Tacoma?" Well, that's going to be next spring. It's
Well,
going
and
to
it's kinda done.
it's kind
And
of
I
done at
hate to
that
say
point. I
that.
mean, it's like the TRD Pro is going to be a little bit faster, right, than the off road. The different features. The only thing that's interesting to me is the Trail Hunter. But the
Mhm.
Trail Hunter, let's be frank here, it's just a bunch of add-on parts. I mean,
I think
it's not.
you're getting better you're getting better suspension. When we walked around that in Texas, I mean, I seen a lot of what you're getting legit stuff on that vehicle,
Right.
but yes, at the end of the day, it's still a
It's still a
Tacoma that's
Tacoma, right? So I mean, it's like that's the problem is like y- it's hard to wait when you have all these things you want to do. Like I want to do my first thousand miles, fuel economy test. I want to see what I actually, I want to check out the build quality. I mean, there's just a lot um that I want to check out. A lot of things I want to do for the initial vehicle, and also, I do write off the truck for taxes, and
yeah, oh,
so
yeah. No, it's
um,
definitely you have to have some, in this business, you better have some some
right.
write-offs, and vehicles are great for that.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, so I mean, there's why did I buy the 21 Ford M50? Well, I had was it 35,000 reasons to buy the 21 Ford F-150. I mean, that's what it came down to. I mean, I had this amazing year and I just didn't know what to, do with it. So that's what happened. So but yeah, and like I said, it is a race. If you're not first and if you're not within the
Ricky
first.
Bobby over here. If you ain't
Yeah,
first, you're last.
was it? I have right here. If you ain't first, you're last. I have the shirt on.
How appropriate.
But no, I mean, if you're not, you can be second or third, and you're still okay. But if you're fourth or fifth, I mean, it's like
Oh, that
you had that
was
recently. You had the Jeep Gladiator that you bought that
I was
you
late to.
wanted, but man, the
Well,
views
and then
on.
our friends over at Texas Truck Channel, you just picked up a Gladiator, and I'm like, "Ooh."
Yeah, because
And nothing because those
yeah,
guys are awesome, but I'm
you
like,
bought it,
"Wow, man."
but then you bought a Mustang, and the Mustang views were like
Oh, yeah, but
because
now they're
you,
gone.
yeah,
So
but you
we
were the
get
first one.
maybe 2 months with a vehicle, and then suddenly everybody has them, and nobody wants to talk about it, so mhm.
Yeah, yeah, so yeah, it's I don't know, that's the race, and then it's a game of what to buy. I mean, Silverado this year wasn't a very good truck for the channel for this year. I
Yeah,
really liked it. I really liked the truck, but as far as comparison to the Tundra I had the year before, I mean, I'm getting 25% the views. It-
yeah. So
That's
single speed 427 says the only reason to buy anything other than a Ridgeline for midsize is the cool off-road capability. Bomb dropped. There's a lot of truth in that though. There really is. Like, unless you
yeah,
really or even the Maverick. Like, let's be honest, the Maverick is kind of a midsize truck too, and the Maverick's probably more practical than most midsize trucks. And maybe even the Hyundai, what is it, the Tucson or whatever they build?
yeah, no, it's the Santa Cruz. I'm actually getting
Or
a
Santa
Santa
Cruz.
Cruz in 2-3 weeks, and I've never had it for loan, so I'm really kind of curious about. I'm really curious about it because I tell people all the time the Ridgeline actually rides the best on dirt roads,
Yeah.
which is counterintuitive, but it's because the unibody versus the
Independent
body on site.
completely independent suspension. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
built to be
it's just
smooth.
built differently. So it's interesting. Yeah, Dave? What is your opinion on the Jeep Gladiator?
I liked it. Honestly, I did like it. We bought our Gladiator because we had a Bronco coming, and this is in 21. And I wanted to Wranglers at the time were hard to get because of COVID and all that. They just weren't on dealer lots. So I thought, well, that'll be the nearest thing I can get to experiencing the take the doors off, the tops off, and all that. So I can have a comparison of the Bronco we were getting. And it wasn't bad. The only problem is old tech as far as steering, straight axles. You forget how well new cars drive with independent front suspension till you get into a Jeep. And then I always say you have to participate in driving. It's not like
Mm-mm.
the Bronco, dude, I can put one finger on the steering wheel, it's just gonna track straight. Jeep on the highway, you're participating. You're part of the
No,
equation of, like, making it and there's nothing wrong with that. There's people
no,
that love that,
yeah.
just like manual transmissions. There are people that wanna participate. And, I liked it a lot. Me and Tim's had a lot of discussions whether they ever actually build a second generation to that, and, the way they're laying off at the plant right now, who knows?
It's gonna be
That's a
interesting. So
scary.
the UAW strike, I just did a post on the forum today about this because I was curious people's viewpoint on this. But the Gladiator 4xe is supposed to come out
Mhm.
next
Which
year.
I me
Next year,
depending how to
2025.
because they can't sell them in California anymore.
You read that, well, they can't sell them in 16 states, I think it is. 16
Yeah,
states have adopted CARB California rules. They
yeah,
can't sell the gas, they can't sell the Gladiator and Wrangler. So people said to me, well, Tim, they changed CEOs, they laid off people based on, lack of sales. Well, when you can't sell, most of your lineup in certain states, yeah, you're gonna have some
yeah.
problems. And I
And
don't know that.
California's a heavy hitter as far as set volume.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure that people are sold on the 4xe because it's so new and different. And so now you're saying this is the only option you have. And I've seen stories people actually have driven across state lines and bought a Wrangler Gladiator somewhere else. Now, how
Yeah.
many customers are willing to do that? I'm going to guess not a lot of customers willing to do that. I think some customers will go, I'll just buy something else then.
Yeah, no, I think customers well, I think governments were so quick too because they all wanna look good in their constituents' eyes. They all wanna be, "Oh, look, we're the most environmentally friendly and all this," but I think there was such a rush to adapt to a lot of this stuff that there wasn't a thought process of planning to adopt this stuff, and they were just like, "Oh, it sounds cool on paper, just make it happen." And now you're seeing, I mean, like, Jeep's having problems selling vehicles because for one, I don't like the 4xe in the Wrangler. I drove it. It wasn't the range is weak to me. I don't care even about the off-roading factor of that. I know TFL got like 8 miles when they took one off-road or something. I don't care about
I've
that
taken it off
factor,
road.
but it's just awful to drive in my opinion, man. And I would love to do time in one again. Jeep, you want to send a press vehicle over? I'll gladly test it out again. But the short time I had it, like the regenerative braking and all that, it's not if I bought a Prius, that's part of the Prius. If I bought a Jeep, I don't want these things to be in my Jeep. So
I remember I got in trouble at the first drive event because I was standing there talking. So I did the 4xe and we were in Austin, I think, off roading. And I'm sitting at lunch talking to the journalist, and I made the comment about it's loud. And the one of the I've known him for years. He came up to me and he was like, and he's really an aggressive kind of guy. And so I kind of got in his face a little bit. And then he goes, "Well, you said it was loud." I'm like, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "Well, it's really quiet. The powertrain's whisper quiet." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's still a Wrangler."
yeah,
Like it's like the Wrangler by design, and it's a cool look, but it's still you can have a lot more road noise. It's just you
yes,
just do. And I remember off-roading with it, and I was like, it was just bizarre. It was just bizarre to like drive along with this vehicle that has no sound, and you're hearing everything.
so Cybertruck wants to comment. Such a rush. It's been 10 years. It's not been 10 years for Jeep. Jeep had, you don't realize, 6 years ago, I don't think they had any EV department at all. They were
Well,
trying to
everything,
they were trying to merge when they were merging Stellantis and all this together. They were trying to purchase Nissan because they wanted Nissan's EV tech to get them up to speed. So they have rushed to get that. And I do think the federal governments, I know California always has this
well,
progressive, we're
Stellantis,
going to be
they've been
ahead,
paying
but
fines for years. They've been paying hundreds of $1 millions in fines every year to the EPA because they can't meet fuel economy numbers.
yeah. But I don't think it's there's a lot of truth in it. Look at the EV market right now. Ford F-150 Lightnings are sitting on the markets. I know a handful of dealers that cannot get rid of these things, and they're trying to just get rid of them. They just need to
Yeah.
move metal, having
Uh,
problems doing it because the early adopters were there, but now they've moved on to Cybertruck or they've moved on. Those early adopters are not brand loyal. They're adapter loyal, and they're going to jump
right.
around to brand to brand to brand to be the
Well,
first to want to
the
try it.
problem I'm seeing and the Cybertruck as well in the comments is that people can't wait to trade in like the Model Y for a Cybertruck. They can't wait to trade in like their Mustang Mach-E for a Cybertruck, whatever. The problem there is that's not expanding the EV marketplace.
Mm-mm.
You're just trading one EV for another EV. If you want to really expand EVs, you need new customers buying EVs. And I do have one gentleman who's been emailing me or Facebook messaged me. He bought a Lightning up in Canada and he traded in his Ram truck for it. And I thought it was a really interesting conversation we've been having back and forth. And basically, it came down to the fact he got the gas pricing, Canada gas pricing. He ended up saving like between 80 to 100 some dollars a month just in gas, and maybe more than that. I forget his drive. He knew the range was going to be bad in the wintertime, but he just decided his commute wasn't that long. He was going to deal with
Yeah,
that. He
yeah,
got he got a higher trim level or something like that for way less than what the MSRP was. I mean, he got a hell of a smoking deal on it. And he's like, I don't really tow that often, but I do haul things occasionally here and there. So he goes, I just want a full size truck for those needs. That's my needs. I'm not gonna argue with that one. People buy vehicles based on what they think they want to buy, and he's been pretty happy with it. But it's garage kept. He has a range where he's driving to. It's like it's one of those things. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Eric Johnson says I have 8 Mach-E and 6 Lightnings collecting dust on our lot.
Yeah, Eric's a good viewer here, and yes, no, I think he's out of Kentucky, if I remember right. Let's see.
And I've heard that F-150 Lightnings make for great fleet vehicles. I've heard the same conversation with Cybertruck. That's great for fleets.
I can tell you, as a person that has a fleet vehicle, it wouldn't work in my business. So
yeah, I don't know.
I think there's some it would, like your parts delivery company, stuff like that. If they made an EV Maverick,
right,
perfect for a lot of situations.
Well, but the thing is, you look at the Maverick, right, and that's a great conversation for fleets. You look at the AutoZone and Napa; they all own Mavericks, right? So you get a $20,000 midsize truck that gets 30, 40 miles of fuel economy, right? Whatever configuration you get, I think it's 40 for front wheel drive or mid 20, whatever.
Yeah,
you could buy a lot of gas for the price difference between that and a Cybertruck.
Yeah,
and from a fleet standpoint, they're like, they don't have to worry about, like Bob came back and he forgot to plug it in. Now Joe's got to take the truck over and drive it, and it doesn't have enough range, right?
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about that stuff. You just go over and get fuel, and you're done. So I think from a fleet standpoint, it's interesting. And then people talk about with fleets, like, like when I had the Power Boost, F-50 hybrid Power Boost, they're like, don't you like the fuel economy? Like, fuel economy in hybrids in trucks doesn't match up. Like somebody, Ross wanted to know earlier about, when would GM offer a hybrid Colorado or Canyon? Depending how they want to do it. Like I don't think the Tacoma hybrid is gonna be better fuel economy. I don't think so at all.
I don't think so at all.
Yeah, I was hoping. I'm still wishful thinking, but it's not a fuel economy.
I mean, but if you look at the MPGs right now on that truck, it's not bad really for a truck. 2024, something like that.
20s, yeah. But my point here is that the Power Boost had the power on board. That's what I wanted. I wanted the power on board. My campground lost power. We plugged it in. We plugged in our camper overnight. I did some work in my fence right around the backyard. I didn't have to do a 50-foot extension cord. I just plugged right in. I'm done. It's so much simpler.
And for camping, like camping trailers, perfect situation. Like you can run your AC at night. You're not. But and then the trucks. It's not like the truck's not going to start either.
Right. And people say, well, don't fleets want that, the portable power? Most times when you're building a house, one of the first things you do is you put in power. Yeah. That's the first. You bring power in. I mean, that's the first thing.
Put your temporary power out there.
Right. I mean, you do land surveying on the side. You see this stuff. The first thing builders do is they figure out where power's going to come in and put power. So you don't need the power like that. I think the power on board is fantastic for the consumer stats of the equation. The consumer wants to go camping. Me as a consumer wants to fix my fence, or if I'm a farmer, I have I'm going to go fix fence somewhere else. Those are really cool. That is really a good. Oh my gosh. Dave said a local dealer, he counted over 40 Mach-E's. Oh God.
They're forcing them. They're forcing their dealers to take them now.
Yeah, I think so. So I think that was my complaint with the Tundra hybrid too. And I talked, and the engineer and I.
Well, we do know for Toyota,
we were not
it's all about horsepower.
Because I was like, why not? If you're gonna force me into a hybrid situation for better towing or whatever, stupid thing, whatever. If you're gonna force me into a hybrid, then give me the benefit of having power on board. That's my viewpoint. If you want to, like EVs, I don't care about the 0-60 times. I don't care about going fast offline, that kind of stuff. I care about I have power in the bed. Like, make my tool more useful to me. Like, because drag racing trucks, I know it gets lots of views on YouTube, but it's not something that truck guys really ever do. You do it 1 or 2 times with your buddies, show it off a little bit, you're done. Right?
It's the Cybertruck and all that, man. All those EV vehicles, they're fun for a few minutes. You've talked about this when you had a Hummer. Like you took your neighbors out.
I did the Watts to Freedom mode a dozen times. I got bored. I mean, it showed it off, but I got, after a while, it's like, it's a one-trick pony. It's like, imagine riding the same roller coaster 15 times.
Yeah.
I mean, at the 16th time, you're like, hey, I don't know if I want to ride the roller coaster again. I mean, that's basically what it is.
So for Toyota, they're following the game plan that with the Tacoma that they did with Tundra. EV is about giving you more horsepower, basically. So when Toyota and the Tundra wanted to do away with the V8, What they do, they add the adaptive hybrid system that will crank up the little electric motor in between the bell housings, will give you more torque and horsepower. So now they're cleaner. You're still getting the customer still getting the same horsepower they expected, and I think that's what they're going to follow with Tacoma. I think it's about what is it, 378 horsepower is what it's supposedly rated in hybrid
Right.
system.
Yeah,
Um,
it's something like, I mean, which all right, let's be frank here, guys. We get these trucks with 400 pound-feet
can I
of
still
torque
be
and
Dave?
300 and some horsepower. That's faster than like a 1960s Dodge Charger, right? So I mean, it's like it's ridiculous. I mean, people are like, "Oh, this electric truck is so much faster." I'm like, "Have you driven an electric truck? Because it should be." Like I've driven a Lightning, I've driven a Hummer, it should be faster by its
Yes.
nature. But at what point is it the return on performance doesn't matter? Like it's like it's so funny. My grandfather, it's a great story. He's almost 90. He bought a Ford EcoBoost. He went to a dealership and he said, he wanted to buy a new Ford. He's always been a Ford guy. He goes, I want to
Mhm.
buy a new Ford F-50. I want that little small six V6 that you guys keep talking about. So I talked to him and he goes, yeah. He goes, I told him I want that V6, and he went back to the dealer and he goes, man, this thing's quick for a V6. And the guy goes, it's turbo. He goes, oh. So then I'm having lunch with him and he goes, yeah. He goes, I love it. It's so fast and so fun off the line. And it's so good. And he
Mhm.
goes, but how do I get better fuel economy?
Stop doing offline.
I'm like, stop smashing the gas. Because he's like,
Yeah.
and I said, where do you drive? He goes, I just drive in town. I go as fast as I can from stoplight to stoplight. I'm like, A, you're 90. You probably shouldn't be doing that. And B, stop.
Tyler Walker says quarter mile times in a full size truck does matter, like it or not. That's why there's a Ram TRX and a Raptor R sell for over 100K few on the lots. No, well, for
Yeah. I
one,
mean,
the
you
lack of
need, you need to do
V8s
it. Yeah.
make people attracted to those vehicles. Let's be honest. When you start a TRX, that's the most fun you can
Oh,
have.
yeah.
Just pushing the little start button,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
hear that thing rev. Same with my Mustang. Do I need a 500 horsepower Mustang from the factory? No. Probably the 2.3 that's 300 and some horsepower would be more practical. But when I push the start button to that vehicle, the joy it gives me, that's why people are attracted to those trucks. And let's be honest, you put that TRX up against a Lamborghini, it's not even close, or even a
Right.
Urus. That thing up against the
Well, that's
SUV
the thing.
version.
Like the Cybertruck drag race was drag racing a Porsche, and I'm like, I don't know
Yeah,
any.
towing a Porsche,
Yeah, I mean, it was a cool photo. It was a cool demonstration, but
except for
I
the fact
mean,
that they ripped Haggerty off for that video. Haggerty had the same video a year ago doing something with a Rivian.
oh, did they?
Oh yeah, just
I
complete
didn't.
rip off
Yeah,
of that
I
video.
mean, so I guess it's cool, and people, it's bragging rights. I get it. But all I'm saying, in an everyday driving situation, that's just not something you do, and it's not something I hear a lot of guys talking about.
Yeah,
And a lot of guys that come to me talk about, they're like, hey, did you see that Cybertruck did that? Yeah. Like, boy, I wish that was a gas engine.
yeah,
I mean, that's always a comment, and it's like, well, you know, it's same thing that the Dodge muscle car thing.
yeah.
I've had friends come to me and they're like, "Man, that's a really cool looking muscle car." I'm like, "Yeah, I think it looks pretty sweet." I mean, I'm not a really big muscle car kind of guy, but I think looks really sweet. They're like, "What's it got in there?" It's like a Hemi, and I'm like, "No, it's electric." They're like, "Oh, pass."
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
I
it's
mean,
an
come on.
immediate
The
response.
guys are tuning Mavericks now to destroy cars on the quarter mile, like because it's
Yeah.
turbo, it's a light little thing. Like you can make any vehicle fast if you want to throw money at it. And let's be honest, you want to get you. I think Town and Country Ford right now in Alabama is offering this. You get a base
Yeah,
XL
the base
with a
XL
V8,
Raptor kit.
and they throw a turbo or a supercharger on top of it, and
Yeah.
you've got 700 horsepower. So
Yeah.
horsepower is a dick measuring contest, and that's the nicest way to be about it. It's about to your neighbor, how many horsepower? Oh, you don't have the 700 horsepower. Look what I got. It's just bragging rights, man. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's a lot
But
of guys I know that buy trucks for that. I mean, not
Mhm.
buy trucks, but they buy vehicles because they want the fastest thing.
Yeah.
My thing is I think, and I've said this in a few different times. I think drag racing is going to be dead in like next couple of years
Well,
because
look at it. When I was a kid, the NRA or whatever used to be on TV all the times. Once
yeah,
they hit 300 miles an hour, it's like nobody watches that anymore. They broke a barrier.
right. And and electric vehicles as well. Like somebody said that Tesla Cybertruck does a quarter mile in 11 seconds. Just made the Ram TRX and Raptor R obsolete. I don't think so. I don't think so at all because you
No,
don't hear
because
anything. Like,
and
if you
people
that's my question for the electric car people, that kind of stuff. have you done it? Have you gone in an electric vehicle and just gone as fast as you can?
Mhm.
Because there is no sensory feel besides wind noise in the cabin. There's no sensory feel. Like it's quick, push it back in your seat. Like the Lightning, like I thought the Lightning was faster than the Hummer personally, and I did the 0 to 60 times. I did drag racing with it, and it's fun. But my God, I'll take my 62 C10. I'll drive that all day versus an electric truck because the 62 actually sounds like it's doing something.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, doing 70 miles an hour on my 62 was, let's just say I got a few gray hairs off that one. That was an experience. Holy
Well,
cow.
thank God for brake technology. We'll say that.
No, I
Drum
don't. I
brake if
don't
you
have.
had
I
just
don't have
drum
power
brakes.
brakes in that. It's
Yeah.
all drum brakes.
Yeah, no, people don't realize I had a Volkswagen, 64 Beetle, and I would drive it in the morning sometimes to work, and drum brakes, you better leave, like, a little gap in between the car in front of you, and so with modern cars, people go, "Oh, he's letting me in." No, I'm not letting you in. I'm hoping I stop.
I know. I know. I mean, and that's the thing. I wish I lived in a bigger area where I had more fans together. Like I always loved Joe Rady. He's in Florida. He has big meets up with his fans and
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. Because I would love to do this. I'd love to get 3 people or a handful of people, whatever, and set up 3 vehicles: a modern full size truck, twin turbo or turbo, whatever, a 62 C10, an electric truck, whatever it is. Rivian, give me a Lightning, give me a Hummer, give me a Cybertruck, whatever. I'd love to get all 3 customers in those trucks and or how many I could, and just get their overall experiences after an extensive drive, not a quick drive at an auto show or a dealer drive, whatever. But let's go 50 miles. Let's go back and around because I can tell you my friends who have done with that. Um, my golf buddies, my retired golf buddies have done with that. They all come back with the same thing. They're always like, "Man, electric trucks are really fun, really fast. It's really cool." But then they start sitting down. They start going, "Yeah, I got to spend much more for it, or I got to charge,
Well,
or I just want to do." After a while, they're like, "Yeah, if you because I'll do the really quick offline stuff with them. And then we'll drive around town. And they're just like, okay, well, around town driving is boring.
yeah,
Like it's
and
the same
Ford came
responsibility
out
every single time.
came out this week that Ford is cutting production in half for the Lightning right now. Obviously, we do know Lightning's about to get a Gen 2. They were very quick. They said, "Hey, we got this out." Even when they launched this vehicle, I think it's by 25. They said, "Hey, we're going to jump into a Gen 2." Hopefully, they fix some of the problems of that. But Ford is realizing, we're going to build all these battery plants, and then suddenly it's in Michigan. It's like, whoa, timeout. We don't need to employ people for things that we don't need to sell right now. And I think Farley came out and said, "Hey, we're going to push towards plug-in hybrid, and we're going to go more hybrid.
Yeah,
Let's
I think
let's let's slowly transition. Let's not just push
yeah,
people into
they all
something."
screwed that up. Like I don't know why they didn't do hybrid for in the middle ground. I think in the
People made
SUVs they did, but
people
yeah,
made fun of Toyota for years. Why are
I know.
they not doing EVs? Why are they not doing EVs? And they know their customer and they're slow.
Oh my god,
Sometimes it's
I took so
better
much.
to be conservative and be slower to change than just whatever the market's doing.
I took so much crap for defending Toyota's viewpoint among journalist friends because they were like, Toyota was like, hey, for one Hummer, you can divide that battery up like 16 different ways and put it in 16 different hybrids and get better emissions just off that one. So why
Yep.
build a Hummer? And it was a great comment. And they're like, hey, lithium is not an infinite supply of this stuff. Let's use what we have. Let's be smarter with it. Let's do hybrids first. And they got
Yep.
destroyed in the media. And I defended them because I thought that was a smart decision they made. I thought they were really, really smart about the viewpoint on that. And now it's like, oh, look really smart. And I'd say from a journalist standpoint, when they did the production numbers in half for the Lightning, I was cracking up because the week before it was like a press release and they had announced that the Lightning had the best sales it ever had, like 4,000 units in the one month.
4,000 units.
And then the next week it was like, oh yeah, by the way, we told suppliers we're cutting things in half. Like,
The only
it was
the
just
only way that 4,000 units looks good is if you compare it to the Nissan Titan. That's the only way that looks good.
yeah. Yeah, I don't, so it's like one of those things. Johnny's got a really interesting story in the comments about Blue Cruise almost getting him killed in an accident or hurt in an accident. It's really interesting. I don't know if I've been kind of following that as you've been talking. It's quite a story he's got going on. Yeah, I don't know. It's again, I think electric trucks have their purpose. What I found fascinating was my friends over at Auto Pacific. Robbie DeGraff did a survey. He surveyed potential EV truck buyers and potential traditional truck buyers. And it was interesting because the electric truck buyer, the technology was 2 to 1 more important to them.
Yeah.
The like performance, like speed and that kind of stuff was like 2 to 1 more than traditional truck guys. it has to fit my lifestyle, and we're talking like uh I don't know, jet skis or whatever. It was like 2 to 1 versus traditional truck guys.
Yeah.
Like the buying reasons for electric truck buyers is so different. It's going to take a while for us to for me to understand what's going on. And I watched all the Cybertruck videos I could. I watched except I haven't seen the ones with the Sandy Monroe, but I watched the Haggerty one.
Sandy's tough to the
Is he?
he's a little tough to
I've never seen one of those videos, and I just want to see him and Elon talking about the Cybertruck.
I watched that
To
interview.
its credit, it's much safer. The Cybertruck's an
Yeah.
incredibly safe vehicle inside of it for you.
Well,
Outside of
Tesla
it,
always has 5-star ratings.
right? But outside of that Tesla Cybertruck, it's going to hurt and kill a lot of people. Like you want to
Maybe, yeah.
talk about pedestrian crashes or like, I mean that thing's dangerous, and it's not available to be sold in Europe because it doesn't. They don't want it. They're like it doesn't. It's going to kill too many pedestrians.
Well, that
And
probably also is probably because it's a big vehicle. They don't like
no,
you don't get
they
full
flat
size
out
trucks over there.
no. The regulators over there flat out said it's not safe for pedestrians, and they have so in London they have a lot of bans on bull bars as well.
Yeah.
And they've done a
Well,
lot because they have a lot more, so those European populations there's a lot more walking, a lot more transit situations, and so yeah, it's I am surprised that Tesla has to self certify their crash safety stuff, and then the government looks into it, right? So I'm a little surprised that NHTSA hasn't walked into the Cybertruck yet and done their analysis yet. Those first, I just in my back of my mind, I'm thinking to myself, those first 10 or 12 customers that have that Cybertruck, I'd be really cautious about doing a lot with it until the federal regulators get done with it. Because I can
I
see
mean, is it any more dangerous than a Hummer though? Let's be honest, man. The Hummer's wider, more massive.
it's the way that front end is. It's such a sharp angle.
Yeah, but Haggerty, when they did their review of that, when you walk up to that truck, it's not as low as you think. I think it came to his chest. The front end did, the top of it. So it's not like you're going to fly across the vehicle. Now, I don't want to get hit by any vehicle, and I'm not going to debate whether the Hummer's
Right.
any safer. But I mean, trucks are heavy, and I think that's to kind of get back into the mid-size part of this is go hybrid. Yes, these trucks are somebody commented earlier, these trucks are getting heavy, heavy, heavy. Everybody wants hybrid in these trucks.
And it's
Man,
gonna
the
have weight.
packs alone are 1,000 pounds or something. I forget. They're ridiculously heavy. They're expensive to replace. And so for Toyota, I think Tim to kind of let's just sort of we'll do a small pack for horsepower. I think they kind of got it going on, man. I think they're smarter, and I think we know Ranger. I looked at the back of the Ranger under the seat. It's built for a battery pack. It's shaped just like a battery pack. The way the cavity is there. We know a hybrid's coming. And I'm curious, do you think when we get to actually test drive these damn things, do you think at the same point they do a reveal of a hybrid system for the press?
That's a really interesting question. I
Ford
don't,
likes to remember the tease they did of
you
the
know,
the Raptor R when it was at the Bronco Raptor event. They kind of teased it that way.
I guess for me, I know a lot more about Toyota than I do Ford. I'm learning a lot more about Ford. I've been focusing on it. Ford's a hard company to cover. I don't
Yes.
know why, man. It's
Trust
difficult.
me.
Jesus criminy. It's like I'm like hard to get vehicles to review. It's hard to talk to get answers to certain questions. It's just a tough company to cover. And their F-150 is so varied. It's so hard to truly understand. I had to go to a dealer in town to actually understand more about trim levels because it's just like, oh my god, all the options. Yeah, Tim only worries about hitting deer and cows. Yeah, I do.
He wants
But
to eat the deer.
my question for you would be: so Toyota has done hybrids for years.
Mhm.
It's a shame that their Prius Prime and the Rav4 Prime powertrains did not make it into the Tacoma because those powertrains are really good. And the Toyota Sienna, we just had that. My wife just reviewed that. I'll be live on the channel. That minivan gets 35 miles to gallon.
Mhm.
So if a minivan get 35 miles to gallon, why can't the
It's also
freaking
front wheel drive. I mean, there's a
all-wheel
lot of
drive?
factors to
No,
that,
no, all-wheel drive.
Is it
The
all-wheel
Sienna
drive?
is
Well, but
only
it's
all-wheel drive, and
it's still mostly front wheel drive.
right, but it's only front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. You can make me say it. It's only all-wheel drive, only hybrid. So I mean, from a
Yeah.
customer standpoint, that's attractive to them, right? So my attitude is, if Toyota can do it so well, why didn't they do it better? And I was actually one of my comments that my criticism of the Tundra was in the rear seat of the Sienna. There is a 1,500-watt plug, 1,500 watts. And the back of the Tundra, it's like 700 watts. So I can run a circular saw off the back of the Sienna, but I can't with the Tundra.
I don't know if you've seen a lot of construction sites I've been on. I see more minivans than trucks though.
You know what I
Maybe
mean? I'm
Toyota knows.
but still, I mean, isn't that goofy? Like, why
Yes.
that's such a goofy thing. And so
Yeah,
my
but
question for you would
look at the use. Look at case use of that. What are you gonna run in a cab that you would need all that power for? Kids want up their PlayStations, or they wanna run all this.
yeah,
Maybe
I
their
don't
mom
know.
wants a margarita, and you gotta blend that thing,
It's just hilarious. It's just funny to me. But you look at Ford, and I'm trying to think of the Ford's hybrid system.
Well, power boost.
Yeah, they could do the power. Yeah, you're right. They could do the power boost. That 21 power
I
boost.
think we will see in the Ranger. I think that's what they'll
But
call it. It'll
the
just be
problem
a
with the
power
power
boost.
boost, though, is same deal it was in the F-150. There's no improvement in fuel economy.
Well, but they don't give it. Let's be honest, man. They don't really give a damn about that. It's the tech for a truck is all about flash. It's about, oh, we somebody thinks they're doing something. Is there a practical reason for it? Yes, in trucks, I think like you were saying earlier with camping, stuff like
The
that,
power
there
on
are
board, yeah.
reasons, there's case points for that. Nobody wants to be on a campsite with a loud generator. So
I
there's
think,
case
yeah,
points for that.
generators are they never really start right. You got to make sure you run
Yeah.
them before, and they're really loud. They're just
Unless
not
you have a
doable.
Honda, like I
Yeah,
do.
unless you have a Honda. Yeah, Honda's the Honda's a hell of a generator. So you ask a question, and I'm thinking through my head. I'm thinking. So now you're saying power boost, and that got me thinking too, because they announced in the 24 model year they're going to double the power boost production, and they made it the same price as the gas engine in the
Yeah.
F50. So you bring up an interesting point. They could do a Ranger power boost. They already have technology, just downsize it and throw it in the Ranger. And if they brought the price, I don't know if the pricing would make sense because in the F50 they have more profit margin. They're able to suck up more of that price. So I
Yeah.
wonder if there may be a pricing issue with the Ranger going down. They may price this out of the marketplace, which I know people make fun of the pricing these days, but companies are very conscious of pricing. They pay a lot of attention. That's why that extra cab Tacoma came out. They're trying to get a cheaper truck in the marketplace.
Mhm.
They do hear the customers. They do listen to these live streams. They do listen to your comments. They do read stuff. They are trying, but there are some regulations as far as safety, as far as equipment, as far as emissions, and what the market's willing to buy. I mean, it's like I was talking to Sheldon Brown about that with the Tacoma extra cab. He goes, "Look, I made the cheapest Tacoma I possibly could. It's the cheapest I can make it.
Yeah.
I can't do any cheaper. I stripped out everything I possibly could. I still mandated to do many different things from the government. I'm mandated to do certain things from the company. I'm mandated to do certain things for safety equipment, safety wise. He goes, this is the cheapest I can do. And so I think there's something to that as far as the Ranger going, Ranger Power Boost. That's a really interesting question. I could see that going because for two reasons. I could see the pros and cons. I could see price being an issue. I could see fuel economy not being that better. You have more complexity in the powertrain, but you also could see emission standpoint. You could see customer standpoint. You could see power in the bed, which I don't know if it's that big of a factor with Ranger. I know that F50 was. I really wanted a power boost F250 or F350,
Yeah.
right? Because you could go if you go 1 ton, go camping or something. I'd
Right.
want you could really do off the grid fifth wheel camping if you had more power built up into
Mhm.
it.
And
You
then you
can't,
get in the 250, 350s, you get more payload, and that would be the
right,
one downside to Ranger is you're gonna lose payload.
right. Yeah, you're gonna lose payload, right, and towing capacity, which towing is an interesting question. Mid-sized trucks, manufacturers tell me that towing doesn't really matter, but I tell you what, I say that in video, and I hear from people that it does matter. So I'm taking my comment back, and I'm not gonna, what's going on with that one. But yeah, I think I think now that we put it in the realm of saying if they get to take a power boost, put it in there, because I know again when the Super Duties got redone, people were really disappointed
Yeah.
that there wasn't a power boost option.
Well, Ford, like, when you bought your F-150 Power Boost, man, they were all excited about it, then they just dropped it, like, out of, "Well, no,
I
we're
know.
going BEV, fuck this," and you're like,
Yeah,
"What?"
it
Like,
was
why did
weird,
you
and not yeah,
it's a
and
good name, it sells what it is, it exactly sells what it is, and I'm surprised, and now they're all of a sudden going, "Oh, yeah, no, Power Boost, yeah, we're we're hybrids,
well,
we're
and
doing this."
the other thing you have to remember with a power boost is you didn't have that auto start crap. It didn't stop, so it would turn the engine off at the stop signs,
Mhm.
but because you had EV power, you didn't notice it. There wasn't like the
Yeah,
rough start and stop. So that issue. They also did zone lighting in that power boost. I was a
which that was
huge
really, I
fan of
love
zone
that
lighting.
video you did on that, that was really cool.
Zone lighting is the shit. Like it's awesome. I mean, it's absolutely awesome. I loved how fuel economy. I mean, what I did that one drive, and I really feathered the throttle, and I got over nearly 30 miles per gallon out of a gas engined F-150. I mean, so the stated so here's the problem with the power boost is the stated EPA is the stated EPA test cycle.
Mhm.
But if you know how to drive it, you will get significantly better fuel economy. I cannot
Oh,
say
I
that
would
enough.
love to take I'd love to take it on my Hyperloop, my 40-mile loop I
Yeah,
do to get extreme mileage on it. I bet I could get through the roof in that vehicle.
right. I mean, you can't.
I think Ranger though, Tim, power boost, do not do plug-in hybrids. Just that tech works fun for cars. It's not for trucks, man. Please do not do that.
Yeah, I think that I've had a lot of people comment about plug-in hybrids. A lot of people want that 40. So understand here we have three different things. We have just naturally aspirated engine. We have the turbocharged engine, which I mean, we've had turbos now for over a decade, and I
Yeah.
haven't seen the big repair bills that people always want to claim on turbos. We have a hybrid system, which is basically you're using the battery and the motor together. Then you have a plug-in hybrid system. The plug-in hybrid uses the battery only, and the motor charges the battery in layman's terms. So you get like 30, 40 miles of range. That's the Jeep Wrangler 4xe is a plug-in version. The Gladiator 4xe would be a plug-in version of those trucks. And I've never gotten the 40 miles of range. Like you start driving, and all of a sudden the range drops, and the battery kicks on, and it's like
Yeah.
so like if I was driving, I think I calculated once, I drove like 40 or 50 miles in a Wrangler, and I think I saved like a buck 50 over the course of a week, right? And fuel, because I started using fuel so much because I was passing or doing whatever the engine kicked on. So I think it's interesting how it works out. So Tim, you do recommend the Power Boost? Yeah, somebody Dave wants to know if I recommended the F-150 Power Boost. Yeah, I do. I had a lot of fun with that truck, and again, from a journalist
That
standpoint,
truck was
though,
huge for your channel as well.
yeah, well, and from a journalist standpoint, two things. First of all, buying a vehicle really works well for my channel. I enjoy it, and the audience enjoys it. I learned a lot more about Ford doing that. My only criticisms towards the end of the time having the Power Boost were a couple things. I had a weird knocking fitment issue on the A pillars. It was kind of weird. There was a little bit of wind noise if I didn't get the window quite up right way it was. A little quality issues there, and frankly, it got boring because there was no big throttle response. There was no exhaust note. It was just
Yeah.
and the thing is that the Power Boost, for better or worse, it drove like a large sedan, which was great for long road trips. Absolutely fantastic long road trips. But when I wanted to drive a truck, and I wanted to have a good time driving a truck, it didn't give me that same visceral feeling. Now,
Yeah.
is that every customer? No, I know a lot of customers who love the Power Boost. A lot of my friends love the Power Boost when I had it because they want smooth, quiet, powerful. That's all they wanted. And
Well,
that's not,
in a nice trim, a lariat trim or something like that, that totally makes
oh
sense.
yeah,
You know, I know we were talking earlier about the TRX, the big V8s in trucks, but there is a clientele that who, you know, trucks now, even mid-sized trucks, or those could be the family cruisers. They're
yeah,
the
oh, yeah.
we're gonna on a
Follow
trip, we're gonna be in there.
up question about the transmission on the 10 speed. You know what's interesting? The 10 speed's got a lot of hate on that Ford. I never had a problem with mine, but I had a
Uh,
friend who bought a Power Boost who called me, and he was having all sorts of problems. And so I told him to take it to a dealership and have it reflashed. He's like, "What are you talking about? That's not a thing." I'm like, "No, go have it reflashed." So it took him like 6 months to get a dealership because dealership was so far behind. The dude did reflash within like an hour, and when he was done, he got truck back. Goes, "Oh, it drives so much better. It's so amazing." And what I told him was, "It's a learning transmission. You
yep,
taught it wrong."
pretty
He's
much,
like
yeah.
all of us. He gets a new truck. He slams the gas. Oh, look how fast it is. All this kind of stuff. Drives it that way for about a week, and then he drives normally, and then transmission wants to shift faster, wants to do
Mhm.
shift hunt for years. Because again, when you do get a new truck that has a learning transmission like the Ford is, it's in learning mode. It's trying to learn your driving style.
Which
So
is
don't.
bad for us in the, auto world is we get, the press car from the next guy,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
bro.
we all complain that these things shift like crap, and you're like, "Well, yeah, it's"
Yeah,
no, but
it's
you're 100%. They learn how you drive and adapt to, the computer tells it to adapt how you drive.
and everyone I've told them to go to dealership and get the 10 speed reflashed. Every owner has come back to me and said, "Oh, I have no problems. Absolutely fantastic now." It's been
Yeah,
consistent across the board.
yeah. Johnny says he can agree that the F-150 Raptor was fun to drive. The Lightning is a little boring, but definitely, I know Johnny had some issues with his Lightning early on too. It was like a brick for a while, which some of them were. So Tim, back to actually mid-sized trucks. Pricing as we kind of bring this thing around. So 54,910 for a fully loaded off-road version of the Tacoma. That's when you look at the Raptor was 57,000, I think you're getting a if you want an off-road capable vehicle, I think you're getting a better off-road capable vehicle with the Ford. I think the ZR2 is probably out of all of them, it's the best bargain at what was it, $51,000?
So strange that Chevy's
Um,
top trim is the bargain compared to. I mean, it's just
yeah,
it's just so strange, and and
they're
and
gonna
that
start
really speaks
treading in
to
the
how.
Nissan categories.
Well, that really speaks to how much the GMC Canyon has become the more premium option for General Motors.
Yeah,
They try to make Chevrolet the cheaper entry level brand. The GMC is more, the top trim kind of brand, and it's difficult for journalists because look, the Google Trends data shows that Chevrolet searches a lot higher than GMC does, and so I tend to write stories around the Chevy Colorado first, then GMC Canyon second, because of that Google Trends data, which is just business. It's just more people are searching for Chevrolet, so people are
yeah.
like, "Why don't you just buy the GMC over the Chevrolet?" I'm like, "This search traffic."
Yeah, no, I'm, quickly looking at the ATX 4 or the AT4X and 57,000 really quick just really quickly doing a buzz
Building
through
price
here.
that.
Um, it's definitely a nicer I they've taken GMC, man, and just I really out of all of them, that would be the truck I would definitely get because
Oh, for the
I think it
money. I mean, it's usually a couple $1,000s more, but the interior looks much better. And as far as it not looking so much, I guess looks to some degree, but it just feels more solid. You have more sound deadening. It just, and I like the way the GMC looks. I really like. My brother's had this.
it's my favorite of the twins. It's definitely my favorite of it looks aggressive, and that's something you don't think of. GMC generally wants to tone down. They want to be more luxury, and this truck is by far more aggressive looking than the Colorado.
Yeah, and my brother just bought a GMC Canyon Denali, and he had the same issues with the radio they were having, and he
Mhm.
had got his whole infotainment system replaced, and they've it's a weird software hanging issue, maybe I don't know. Everybody's got different theories on it, but hasn't had a problem since, I should say,
Yeah,
since that issue came out. He got dealership, got it all fixed, and it's all fine. But and he's a big fan of it because he wanted to park in his garage. He
yeah.
had a three-quarter ton GMC Canyon or GMC Sierra Denali. Yes, my brother has a few dollars, and it didn't fit in his garage. And he just got tired of it. He didn't want, and he got tired of commuting in it. Got tired of filling it, trying to get out of it. He just wanted something smaller. For him, he's usually by himself most of the time. He's usually hunting by himself most of the time. And he's got this really cool Jeep J10 truck. I think it was whatever it was,
Oh
1970.
yeah, yeah.
So when he wants to have fun, he goes out and drives that. When he wants to go back and forth to work, he drives his Canyon.
Is that the same one from Twister?
You know what? Whoa, that's a good one. It might be. Let me see. Twister
Because
movies.
that's my favorite Jeep truck of all time. If it's I always get the coding for the Jeeps
Yeah,
screwed up, but
yeah, it's the same one. It's the same one from Twister. His is
yeah.
in silver, and he bought it for a steal a deal. The guy did the whole resto mod on it. It sounds really cool, and it's a really cool Jeep. I drove with him in it in Michigan last time I was there. He had it down, and so we're checking that thing out. I should do a video on it because it is pretty cool.
Yes, you should. And I should get to drive that. I'll go help you and get to drive my dream truck.
It's a lot of fun.
And any word on the Ford Ranger when it'll get the flexible upper rack system like they're already getting overseas? Tim, have you seen this Ranger rack system?
Probably have seen it, but I haven't really paid much attention to it. I should say.
I
I
gotta.
see a lot of. I mean, you see a lot of photos and you see a lot of stuff. I don't always pay attention to everything I should because hey, check out my inbox one of these days. I got a lot of noise going in emails and comments, things like going
So
on.
they have this. I'm trying to quickly find it. It's brilliant how they have this rack system that it just folds like it's like a transformer, and it makes it very adaptable to it just makes it more truck like you need trucks to be multi-purpose. And let me see if I can find this thing real
I'll
quick.
go. I'm going to answer this question. David W
Go ahead.
says, "I'll take a Frontier anyway over Taco, Ranger, Canyon, Colorado, etc." So on the forum.pickuptrucktalk.com, because I'm going to pimp that one more time at least. I created a question on the Nissan Frontier thread to get the conversation going. Do you think that the Nissan Frontier has been left in the dust because of the new Taco, Ranger, Canyon, Colorado, or do you think when the dust settles, it's going to look like it's a pretty solid deal because
I think
you have a natural aspirated engine, you have maybe a little bit better value price point. I don't know.
I'm a guys, I'm a very big Nissan fanboy, and I that's 2 ways you can look at that one, Tim. Like, you can look at it and go, "Man, you're still getting a very honest pickup truck." You know, it's just a very basic, doesn't have all the crawl control features, you're not paying for all this tech. It's just you get cool features with it, don't get me wrong, but it's just an honest pickup truck where a lot of the other ones are kinda softening, you know, they seem to get softer and I'm kinda always mixed on this. Do you want? Because I've used that, I've had that as a press loan, and I've
Yeah,
gotten incredible fuel mileage out of that truck. For a big V8 or V6 truck, I got 26 or so in that thing. Now that's my very hyper, like Tim saying, you fairy throttle, feather it. But I get a lot of comments on my videos of that truck where people are like, no, I get 25 on the highway all day long.
yeah.
And it's
I
not
think
turbo.
I mean, I drove it. It drives pretty well. The V8 or V6. I was gonna say V8. The V6 is consistent. That's the thing I don't like with turbocharged engines is the fuel economy is really across the
Mhm.
board. I mean, a V6, a naturally aspirated engine, is very consistent no matter what weather conditions, fuel economy, or driving situations. Very consistent. I think the thing with Nissan Frontier is I had the Pro 4X for press loan. I would put in the stupid carpet cheap floor mats. It's just dumb stuff,
Yes.
right? Just
Yes.
like I'm sorry, but any off-road truck that comes with carpet floor mats is just stupid.
Well,
I mean,
any off-road truck that you should come with a rubberized floor, just
yeah, yeah. I mean, just it's so. I had that criticism. I mean, again, my criticisms on the Frontier are pretty dumb. I think if you were to criticize me on that, because I'm not criticizing anything about the truck. I thought I did think that the wheel spacing, the room in the wheel well for the tire versus in the Frontier was a little tight. I
mhm.
thought that you get some pretty good rubbing if you were trying to do a bigger tire, or if you're trying to go off road and do articulation, which is funny because I mentioned that, and some guys like, "Well, Tim, you dummy, the tires go out when you go when you go up a rock," and I'm like, "They don't go out; they go up and up. like, like it's still gonna hit stuff." So I think the Frontier Pro 4X, I would do WeatherTech floor mats or laser floor mat, whatever you want to choose, whatever brand out there, and I would put a lift on it. I think the Pro 4X could do a 2-inch lift like the Trail Boss has, and that way you can go a little bit bigger wheels if you wanted to, or you could do better, a little bit better off roading if you wanted to. I think those are two things. I do wish Nissan would get away from using the same freaking seats or the heated seat button all the way across the
Yes.
board. All the line, they use the same buttons. It's annoying. It's really bad in Titan because it looks so tiny. But yeah, so look at that. So that one, is that got a lift on it? It sure
Yep,
looks
so this is a old friend of the show. He, that's 35s under that truck.
right. So 30, but so a lift with 35s, right? I think that looks great. I'm not a huge 35 fan, but I think that,
It
that looks more like a really cool off-roader to me. And I
mhm.
think that's where the Pro 4X could go. I think Nissan doesn't they don't the thing that's funny with Nissan is they're always like the baseball team that's like that close. They just need a
Yes.
pitcher. They need a cleanup hitter. They need a second baseman. They're that close. If they
Well,
if they just got a little bit
much
put a
like
little
your
money into
comment
that.
about Ford having the Yankees of a design and all this,
Engineer, yeah.
Nissan, when they get one person that's really a standout, Ford or somebody brings them up to the major leagues, you
Yeah.
know? They
I mean,
just take they
yeah.
pluck their talent.
Yeah, I feel that way with Nissan, and it sucks because Nissan could be a really cool brand. Like they Nismo did the Nismo stuff for that, which I don't love Nismo as a name for truck accessories.
I love Pro
But
you don't like Pro 4X, and I love Pro 4X. I think
right,
it's
so I mean, if they did something, because you have like Raptor, you have Tremor, you have T-Rex, you have some cool names. If they
they
if they
had
would they could take the Pro 4X and make it even cooler version. Like what's that truck you talked about? The Warrior, the Titan Warrior.
Mhm.
If they did a Frontier Warrior that had a 2-inch lift that came with 33s from factory with the optional 35s, right? So you could do 35s as a package that had maybe more skid plates, maybe call AEV up and get the boron steel skid plates, something like that. I think that could really be a cool looking truck. And the thing is, it'd be a halo truck. And what I mean by halo truck is that'd be the one truck people would point at and they take social media pictures of, and they put all over the place. It's not a truck that the dealers would sell a lot of. The idea is they'd bring you into the dealer lot and you bought something else. That's the same thing with the Raptor. The Raptor R in that degree. People share the heck out of those social media photos, get people interested, and then they could bring it to the marketplace. They could bring people in dealership and end up with a Tremor instead of a Raptor, something like that, something they can afford.
yes,
But yeah,
they had that's a spy photo that I got a few years back. They had everything ready to build something exciting, and Nissan just for whatever reason, man, they don't have the money. Maybe for trucks now that they're doing away with Titan, maybe that allows them to funnel more money. I doubt it knowing the company. But they made a Nismo, or they showed dealers a Nismo version of that truck and said, "Hey, this is coming." And the plan, what I was told by a dealer that was at the meeting, was the plan was we launch Frontier. A year later, we launched the Halo truck, the Nismo version of that, and it's just a kind of Raptor fighter. And what's funny is like with Tim, with Nissan's funny with this with Titan Warrior, they had a home run.
Yeah, they did.
They Nissan's had their uh press car, or their show cars, they always do a home run. They had the little IDX car that was a throwback to the old 510s of the period. Dude, I've never seen people get so excited for Nissan. Nah, we don't build it. The truck, people got so excited for that truck. Nah, we don't build it. The same thing. If they would have shown that little truck, they would have never built it. They would have teased everybody, and who knows. But TFL did catch some spy photos of them testing in Colorado with some the back end and the front end kind of. So maybe they're about to refresh that truck quickly. So maybe Nissan's trying to stay ahead of the game, because I will say the Frontier, when it came out, much like the Titan, it was just good enough.
Yeah.
For that particular time period, it was just good enough. So, Tim, I want to show you this, and I know we need to wrap this one up, but let's see. Share
Yeah,
screen.
sorry, my something weird happened with my. Anyways, weird.
So this is what we're talking about, Tim. This is Ford's ingenious way of their rack system.
Oh, so you got basically crossbars that go parallel.
Watch though, it gets better.
Huh.
And then you have this whole,
Interesting.
and
So,
they have to bring this to the United States. I love this feature.
so for those listening like a podcast, imagine you got horizontal or parallel roof rails that come up and they actually spin. They become horizontal, and then in the bed they have it's basically the old sail kind of
Sport bar kind of.
sport bar thing, but that sport
Yeah.
bar actually moves back and forth and it's got a top piece onto it. So you can tie down stuff on top of that and move it where you want to. So it's very utilitarian, I would say, and very useful for kayaks or canoes or things. Imagine
Christmas trees.
yeah, Christmas trees. I just watched Christmas Vacation last night, by the way. So
Are you kidding me, Clark?
shitter's full. But why is the floor wet, Todd? Anyways, so
I
it
don't
was
know,
pretty cool.
Margot.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool system. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't come to the United States. I mean, there's no safety applications for it. There's nothing that crash safety situations. There's
But
nothing
even
that stops
the
it.
top. So the top, the thing about roof racks is, even for fuel economy, they can, it's drag. And the fact that you can take this top, and when you
Put
need
it
it,
back
you
in the
fold it out, and when you don't need it, it's a little more aerodynamic. Like, I find this to be very smart, but this is also what they call their platinum edition in Australia, which I do think eventually we do get a platinum version of this. And then I also think we're going to get the Everest. They've teased the Everest being in the HQ in Detroit, or wrong with the Ranger Raptor. Before they even said they were coming, they were teasing these vehicles. And so I think we get the Everest 2, and they do away with Explorer. I said it. They need some rugged SUV besides the Bronco, still in the same chassis. So I said it.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, Ford has some really cool vehicles. They just do,
Yes.
but they just don't bring them all the time in the United States. They don't build them. The quality is always a little weird. I mean, it's just like, man, if they could just get over this hump of having assembly plant issues, quality issues, Ford could be a much bigger player in the United States. No people like think about Ford as being this massive company, but they're actually pretty small comparatively. General Motors,
Globally, yeah.
globally, it's Toyota, General Motors, and Volkswagen Group that just dominate the global sales. And so, I think there's a Chinese company too. I think there's one Chinese company that's blowing things up quite a bit, because China is actually the world's largest automotive market, which is interesting.
Well, when you don't have access to cars, and then all of a sudden in the past 15 years you get access to cars, you're going to be the largest.
Yeah,
you have a hungry audience for vehicles,
and they're shoving EVs, like they're putting tons of money behind them in China because air quality is so bad. Do you remember that? I always bring this up. Remember those the Beijing games, you
Mhm.
couldn't even see the city. They actually told people to stop driving for like 2 weeks before the games
Well, I
because
had a buddy that would fly to
uh,
Hong Kong, would be fine. He said as soon as you crossed, he's like, "Dude," he goes, "You could almost you'd be in a train." I forget where they would go into from Hong Kong, but they would get into the country. He made cases for cell phones, so they would go over there and quality inspect what was being built. And he was like, "Dude, you'd be on a train driving to the town we need to, and it's like a wall of smog. Like, literally,
yeah,
you would just drive through it." He said it
yeah.
was nasty.
Oh yeah, it's bad over there. But yeah, that's gonna they have to do something over there, and I don't know what they're gonna end up at, but it's a really interesting.
Hey, let them have all the EVs. EMP, pretty easy country to take over. Um, uh,
Yeah, just kill the power plants. Um,
right?
too many jokes. All right,
I
yeah, we
know.
gotta wrap
Yep.
this up. My phone is just ding, ding,
Uh,
ding, ding.
he must have breaking news over there. Guys,
No, that's
thank
my
you for
power plate.
joining in. If you're watching on Tim's channel, come join my channel, man. Come smash that subscribe button for me and help. We got a goal of trying to get to 20K next year, Tim. So it's a big goal, but that's what goals are for. You got to have a high mountain to climb, and we're going to try to get there. As always, we do appreciate you guys spending some time with us on Saturdays. I appreciate Tim. I keep pushing Tim to do these more, and Tim's like, "Look, dude, I'm on 16 live streams. I got 14 videos I'm producing each day. Oh, and now a forum.
Yeah,
So you're lucky to see me every couple weeks."
that's basically what it is. It really is what it is.
Tim, what do you got coming up this week? Anything that our audience needs to know?
Yeah, I have more comparisons. Tacoma versus Ranger, Tacoma versus Canyon. Maybe I'll do Tacoma versus Frontier. It seems like there's some stuff there. I do have the forum I'm working on. I have still uh what am I at now? 10 reviews I'm behind on. So that stuff may actually come out all by Christmas. And then I gotta get hot on this Tacoma thing. I just saw TRD John put a video that his truck has been
Ooh,
allocated. And I'm like,
I saw
where's
that.
mine?
I
So
saw that.
I need to get that done. Clock's ticking.
Tim
It's
needs to
about that
contact
time.
Toyota.
Right. It's about I contacted them. I don't know, like guy that hasn't maybe switched jobs or maybe doesn't know anything. I don't know what the deal is, but
Well,
I'm gonna
you
get
know
a
this
hold of
time of
him.
year,
Yeah,
Christmas
it's
time,
for sure. So I'm gonna get
industry
a hold
shuts
of him to
down.
get it. Actually, you're right. I mean, I didn't hear from PR until I may not hear from them at
January.
all. Uh, could
You
be a
better call. You better call your contact.
yeah, yeah. So I have that information coming out for you guys. So yeah, that's what's going on this week. If I get more,
I've
I'll
got
do that
I've
too.
got a video hopefully coming out this week is where I go through all the 8 top major brands in America and I remove one vehicle from their lineup. One of them has to go. And it's not as easy as you think to get rid of one vehicle, especially knowing the back scenes of like, hey, these do sell well, but one vehicle has to go from all the major brands. And so that should come out this week for me. And I'm
Hmm.
kind of excited by that one.
Do, do,
So
do, do,
guys in the comments,
do, do.
obviously we read the comments after the fact. So leave a comment. I'm sure Tim will love if you go over to his forum and leave a comment there.
Yes, 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 yes,
And
yes. Sign up.
and
Let's make that thing cool.
oh, and we have new gear on the channel. And I
Oh
know
yeah, yeah. You
Tim's
have a
got
new
some gear.
logo.
Yeah, I got a
Why
new
don't you change your
logo.
logo, man? Like change the foundation of a house.
Well, I have an ex-wife for a reason. So so whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, doesn't matter really what you drive. Only if you're talking mid-sized trucks, and I'll let Tim take us out on this one.
Hey, and by the way, Merry Christmas, everybody. And
Yep.
as always, thanks for watching. We will see you down the road.
Peace.